time to go and get this week's Grayson's grades. Scott Grayson there yesterday grades them out on the website after each and every Eagles game. Scott, you got a couple kids running around the house. I'm sure if they handed you this report card, you would be a proud papa.
Yeah, I think this might be the best one I've ever given out so far. And, yeah, I certainly would be if I were Jeffrey Lurie today. With this as my group of kids, these 53 guys that went out there and just hammered Pittsburgh. It was spectacular, a lot of fun to watch, obviously, and certainly a lot of good grades to go along with it.
All right, Scott, one thing, you sent us some audio after yesterday's game. You got a chance to catch up with Brent Celek after the game last night. He said this. I want everybody to take a listen.
We can't sit here and think we won it all. You know, we played good the last 3 games, but we got a long way to go, and we got to take it one day at a time. Can't get too excited. But like I said before, this young quarterback we got, he's inspiring me, you know, bringing some youth back to me, and, you know, just trying to do my best to inspire my teammates as well.
Inspiring. I mean, give me the reaction, like when he says something like that, you guys are sitting there talking to him. You know, that is something that makes it sound like they are playing not to let this kid down because of the energy that he brings to this locker room.
Yeah, at that point there were only 3 or 4, maybe 5 of us around Celek at the time, and you know, when he said that, it's funny you played that and you caught on at the same time. When he said the word inspiring, I have a feeling my eyebrows went up, because here's a guy who's been around the league for a while, and he's inspired this late in his career by a guy like this after 3 games. And it says a lot to me. It really tells you. And you talk to every different guy in that locker room, and they'll throw around some different adjectives, but they're not words that are used very frequently with young quarterbacks, or rookie quarterbacks no less, like they are with this kid. I mean, they believe in him. They trust him. They have a feeling that when they go run that route, the ball's going to be there. And I think they're playing harder for him than we've seen them particularly play for any other coach or any other player that's been here the last couple of years. It really is, you know, for lack of a better word, inspiring to even watch, because these veterans are going out there. They've bought into not only Doug Peterson, but Carson Wentz. And, I mean, this train's leaving the station, and it sounds like they're all aboard.
Scott, there's been a lot of attention for Carson Wentz, but how about Jim Schwartz and the defense and what that means to this team's success?
Yeah, it's really being overshadowed by what Carson Wentz has done. And, you know, that might be a good thing for this defense, although other coordinators and other coaches aren't going to overlook this defense anymore. I mean, they've only given up 2 touchdowns through 3 games. They're giving up an average of 9 points a game. What this defensive line is doing is so impressive in the sense that they had 4 sacks yesterday with only 2 blitzes called. This front 4 is dominating the line of scrimmage. It allows you to leave your guys in coverage, harder windows for a quarterback to throw in. They hold the ball a little longer. Here we go down the road of getting a sack, and that's what this team is doing. I mean, they could have even had about 8 sacks if Ben Roethlisberger wasn't so big and hard to bring down yesterday. They were all around him. They were harassing him. They were hitting him. They were getting to him. It's really inspiring to watch this defense. There's that word again, because I think, you know, as impressive as the offense has been, the Eagles are controlling time of possession because they're putting together long drives, and then the defense is getting right back off the field when they get out there usually. And it's great to watch. I mean, it is amazing how the offense is sort of feeding off the defense and the defense is feeding off the offense. You know, some of the defensive guys said, you know, they had been talking. They got through their talks on the sideline. They were watching Wentz and Sproles work and do that long play that scored the touchdown and what they did there, and they were impressed. So it is really interesting to get in the locker room, talk to these guys, and you can feel the respect that both sides of the ball have for each other. And I don't know that was there in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's definitely when you know things are clicking, if the defense gets off the bench to come forward and get a front row seat to a play like that. Now, one guy who might be under the radar defensively, Nigel Bradham. How about his grade? What grade did you give him, and why has he been so good so far?
Yeah, Nigel Bradham, I gave I believe there he is. Yeah, I gave him an A. You know, he was really impressive, especially early on. I think he really helped set the tone. He seems to be getting more and more comfortable with his teammates around him. He's, of course, one of the newer pieces that came over in the offseason. He made 3 tackles on the opening drive for a total of -4 yards on D'Angelo Williams. All 3 of those were on running plays. And that, like I said, really helped to set the tone that the running game wasn't really going to be there for the Steelers. And Bradham continued to move around. Looked to me like he was moving around a little faster than he has been the first 2 weeks. And I think that just comes from comfort and belief in the teammates around him, as well as understanding the system more and more here with the guys around him. And I think he's certainly coming along. And, you look down the line, there's very few injuries. These guys are playing together week after week after week. Now they're in a bye. I think he's a guy you can start to look to build on for the rest of the season and making more plays as it goes on.
Scott Grayson has Grayson's grades posted at 97.3ESPN.com. Scott, you said something much like Celek perked your eyebrows, perked mine up as well. You said there's respect on each side of the ball now, something that maybe wasn't there last year. And, we kind of indicated that late in that year, things just got so bad, the defense almost, I don't want to say quit for Kelly, but just they weren't buying into Kelly. They weren't buying into Billy Davis's defense. And you wonder if that defense now, when you walk around that locker room and talk to these guys, same guys, a lot of the same personnel, just have a different look and attitude after, going from Billy Davis's 3-4 now to Jim Schwartz's 4-3. We saw a fired-up Jim Schwartz on the sideline, and he seems like he's a little bit of a curmudgeon sometimes. And somebody actually said it afterwards. During the week at practice, he's awful. He is that mean guy. But on game day, there's no one you rather play for. And it seems that these players, that his style is rubbing off on them. They're really having fun playing in this defense.
They really are. And they've been, when you think about it, the players have been together for a while, especially the defensive line, but they've been through so many defensive coordinators. And I think they finally have a guy they feel they identify with, that they will run through a brick wall for, and that they're going to go out there and do the best they can to make their plays. They believe in what they're being asked to do. And, when you mentioned about the both sides of the ball, I think most importantly, this defense believes in the offense to do what it can do, and the offense believes the defense is going to go out there and get stops. And I think that's stuff that this team didn't have because, the defense was getting tired, worn down. The offense knew they had to go out and score. There was more pressure on them to do that because they knew the defense was going to give up some points. And to me, I think it is impressive in hearing them talk about the confidence they have for the guys on the other side of the ball, let alone what they have for themselves. And you're right. I think it was Malcolm Jenkins after the game who I heard say something like, Jim's not as much of a jerk as everybody thinks he is. During the week, he's tough. But, when it comes to game day, he's actually pretty calm, and we feed off of that.
Scott Grayson, for the full list of grades, head to 97.3ESPN.com. Scott will have the week off. The Eagles are in Detroit for the bye. And I'll ask you our poll question today. Who do you, Scott, give the most credit for the Eagles' 3-0 start? We got Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, or how about Howie Roseman?
I got to go with Howie. And I'm not a Howie Roseman fan, but I have just been impressed with what he's done from the end of last season till now. The moving parts that they had to get in to do what they're doing. Maybe you give Teddy Bridgewater the MVP because if he didn't get hurt, Sam's not gone, and you have
it's a great point.
Carson sitting the bench right now and very well might not be 3-0. But all those people you named have had a very big hand in what they've done so far. But I will say this, Mike. You probably heard if you listened to some of the players I talked to yesterday, they were 3-0 a couple years ago, and that didn't work out very well. So they certainly have a little bit of a pulse on
that was
how
Jordan Matthews.
Good this is.
Yeah,
right.
Jordan Matthews really stressed that.
Yeah, he did. And he's the one who seems to keep it grounded really well and let that spread to the other guys too. But they all know it's 3-0. Each one counts as one. And I think this bye week does come at a good time for them to enjoy this, get away, come back ready to push through the last 13.
And I think they got the guy at the top to kind of keep them grounded. Doug Peterson's doing a good job of that. Scott Grayson, the grades are posted at 97.3ESPN.com. Thanks, pal.
All right, you got it, Mike.